So I joined as a former dean of the Amsterdam faculty in the UVA. And then I had a conversation with Martin van der Brink, our chief technology officer, and he complained a bit about individual contributing PhD students. It's okay, but it takes too long, it doesn't make really big impact. And then I said, yeah, that's because you look for individuals and not for a team. And then I started arguing for about 2 minutes. They said, oh, apparently you thought about this. I said, yes, I thought about this. And I think you should hire a full team. Oh, what would that cost? I said, well, first, how long does it take? It takes 10 years. And you need to do it in equilibrium with the academic world, so 50-50. And it takes 10 million per year. So that makes 5 million us, 5 million others, times 10 is 50. He said, please work it out.
Yeah, it was in my time of director of AMOL that ASML came to us and said, we are interested to start a national lab for nanolithography. And they asked us, can you make a bid? Can you make a proposal? How you would start such an institute? And that is my first memory.
Big things have small beginnings. What is now a mature, well-functioning research institute once started in the collective minds and ambitions of a daring group of Amsterdam scientists, crazy enough to propose a new blueprint for a unique public-private partnership, the first of its kind in the Netherlands. And they did it in just 8 weeks. This is the story of ARCNL, the Advanced Research Center for Nanolithography.
Yeah, so the people at AMOL actually took the initiative to rally up their friends at the University of Amsterdam and the VU University of Amsterdam to compose a joint proposal for setting up an institute here in Amsterdam. The clever thing that they did was to actually involve all the people that were already here and have them bring in their own specialties, their own expertise, but sort of twist it around in a direction that would immediately be useful in the context of the ASML developments. And the other thing which was really discriminating between the Amsterdam proposal and the other ones was that the Amsterdam proposal had people connected to it. So not just subjects, but individuals were stating, if this center comes, I'll join it and I'll put my expertise in. So this indeed generated the, you could say, the resonance with the research department at ASML, and it also brought in some added value.
So I'm really a strong supporter of institutes like ARCNL, where we collaborate between academia, together with NWO, as well as, in this case, the semiconductor industry, ASML.
I think if the question is what makes ARCNL a special institute within our collection of NWO institutes, ARCNL is the poster boy or the poster girl, if you wish, of a public-private collaboration.
And what is so beautiful about this institute is that there is space enough for really hardcore fundamental research, which can be applied one way or another.
I think one of the unique added values of ARCNL is that it sits precisely in between academia and industry. It is well known that in the Netherlands there is an innovation gap between academia, startup companies and industry, where many fundamental scientific ideas never get translated into actual applications. So having an institute which sits, if you wish, precisely in the middle of this void, for me, brings a lot of added value. And I think this is the unique position and added value of ARCNL.
So we took a bus to go to ASML with this whole group of people, AMOL, UvA, VU, to present ourselves to the management of ASML. We were on the 18th floor in Martin van der Brink's office to make our pitch, but we prepared it on the bus. So we were all driving there and we were making our plans when we went. And then afterwards we came back and we were super enthusiastic about this plan. And we said, we have to do this. It's nanolithography, it's nanoscience, it fits us. And in the bus, we divided the tasks. So we assigned to several of us, can you please write the XUV part? Can you write the surface part? We were thinking about free electron lasers as another option. We had also people on our team that were really experts there. And basically on the bus back home, we basically made the blueprint for every chapter of what now is growing to the new ARCNL.
So on the 1st of January of 2014, I started 50% of my time here at AMOLF actually, where ARCNL was a department. So you could say it felt very isolated because I was employee number one, but I was in this very warm and really receptive environment of AMOLF. But of course, out of this, we had a rebirth, or a new birth, I should say, of a new department, a new institute.
With all organizational and contractual preparations in place, time had come for ARCNL to assemble a team, to cement their unique position, and to leave AMOLF for realizing independence and to prove itself.
Of course, everything started before the start. We set up the framework of the consortium agreement, the finances. We had a rough idea of what the science was going to be all about. But what I started doing in the first week was to bring in all the people whose faces were on the proposal. These are the principal investigators, and each of them still needs a group. So then very quickly we started with the recruitment of PhD students and postdocs. And so we had to really build it up from scratch. You can imagine this is a wonderful thing to do, because in doing so, you can be the architect together of a scientific building. And that's what we did in the first couple of months. So we started, of course, first within AMOLF, but then very quickly had our sort of preparatory stuff constructed for us. So one of them was an old lab building of the NICHEF Institute. Basically an end station for one of their accelerators way far in the past, which we completely refurbished to our needs. And then for the offices we had barracks, you could say, but very luxurious ones. Having these temporary facilities gave really the sense of a start, where we could not wait for a new building. We had to start right away. And that sort of also joined everybody together in this feeling like, okay, we're camping here, but we are on the road to something great.
I entered ASML coming from the university, and I started as a director of research with the so-called competences or specialities in physics and chemistry. When ARCNL came up, they were looking for someone who understood the academic world and who was not too much spoiled by the industrial way of thinking. So I was the ideal candidate to start following ARCNL, and after about 3 or 4 months at ASML, that was one of my tasks. In practice, my dominant role was being a psychologist, telling ASML people, please slow down, be quiet, don't be too angry, and telling ARCNL people, please listen.
Of course, we were the new kids on the block, also viewed from the perspective of the ASML researchers. They had been in this game of EUV technology for 20 years. And we were just completely new. We had no experience in this field at all. So we were this group of know-it-alls from Amsterdam. And of course, the people at the Veldhoven labs thought, okay, what sort of contribution can these guys still give?
Yeah, so the question on what is the difference between the people at ARCNL and ASML. So what I noticed that the people at ARCNL have a different focus. So they focus firstly on scientific results, but with a strong application in mind. While at ASML, you see just reverse, where we look at how can this be applied, and then the scientific part comes second. And in that way, the two types of people are very complementary to each other. We really add up to each other.
Yeah, so the independence of ARCNL was pre-arranged in relation to its size. And we arranged it in such a way that when we had 50 people in total, we would become independent. We reached that number very rapidly. So after about 1.5 years, we became independent. We had a big party to celebrate this together with AMOLF. And we actually cut together, the director of AMOLF and I, the umbilical cord, a big rope that we had between the AMOLF building and the ARCNL barracks.
I remember when ARCNL started, it was a big experiment. And then it's like any experiment that you do, you start with a good idea of how you're going to approach it. And then while you're trying to do the experiment, you stay alert, you keep your eyes open, and you modify the approach a bit where necessary. Now, ARCNL definitely qualifies as a difficult experiment in that it needed to achieve 2 outcomes at the same time. namely reaching academic excellence and also satisfying the interest of ASML.
The collaboration between ARCNL and ASML has improved. And in my impression, it's not because we made changes. Some of the processes has become more smooth or more defined in order that the expectation on both sides is better. But the most important thing is that we get used to each other's motivation and drives. And that evolution made that everybody feels it's going better than in the beginning.
Yeah, what I love most about my job is the versatility. The diversity of all the topics you have to address and the responsibility of many things. I think the researchers are passionate, dedicated and enjoy their work. So it's very easy to work with them. And with our excellent support staff like the technicians, I think we can together support the researchers in doing the research while we were doing the other part. And I think in the past 10 years we were able to build up a real family, an ARCNL family feeling, and that's, that makes me proud.
ARCNL's ambition and expanding team had outgrown the temporary facilities. It was time for a big move. Same name, new building. About that name though.
So is it ARCNL or ARCNL?
I think it's ARCNL.
ARCNL. ARCNL. ARCNL. It's ARCNL.
ARCNL for sure.
I think it's ARCNL.
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 For me it's ARCNL.
It's ARCNL.
Well, housing is always an issue. We needed a more fitting place, not just as far as size is concerned, but also the fact that the labs are sort of integrated with the office space, so that you don't have a long way to go between the two. In the old place, it was separated. We had a lab building and separate barracks with the offices. I mean, basically you can be in one of the buildings and not see the other people. Here it's integrated. We all have coffee together. We all go to the same seminars in the same building. This is what we needed in order to grow also as a community.
We moved here into the Matrix 7 building, and that was quite a large operation. So we had to think about the design, what did we need from specifications in the labs, and but then also we needed to move all the lab equipment and start running the labs as soon as possible, because otherwise the research was being delayed.
The first time I visited you, I was the liaison officer. So I entered the new building. It was really fresh and new, and it looked amazing. So very nice labs, part of them still being built up. Great people to work with. So I really enjoyed my first interaction with ARCNL.
I was appointed for 2 times 5 years, but I actually stopped already after in total 8.5 years. And the reason was that I regarded the job as completed.
Well, to succeed Joost Frank was in some sense easy. I realized that he did the real hard work. He did the communication and being the victim of my psychology and listen, and in ASML, wait. And by the time I came, that fight or that getting used to each other has become normalized in an institute that operates and is appreciated from both sides. So in that sense, Joost did the hard work and I had the easy work. I looked back at my past at ASML and I took a few of the governing and process principles for ASML and how you deal in a large organization. And it worked out well. Last year, in my first year, we had a record number of PhD defenses.
I think in hindsight, the thing that makes me most proud actually is that the Institute is still there and it's being truly appreciated by all parties involved, by ASML, by the universities, and I think most importantly, by the people within ARCNL. So seeing this from a distance now makes me completely proud and happy.
With their first decade behind them, ARCNL is ready to add a new chapter, a bright future with possibly a new focus.
This is a magical period, 10 years, and it forces you to think about the future. So in the first 10 years, ARCNL has caught up, you could say, with ASML research and passed it on a number of accounts. For the next 10 years, there's going to be something very special for ASML because they have to completely reinvent themselves. The technology that they're running at the moment is at some stage going to reach a level of saturation that you cannot get beyond very easily. And this is for ARCNL to be a leader in. So for the next 10 years, ARCNL should really lead ASML into a new future.
When I look at ARCNL now and I look into the future, I see that there is stability, and that one of the things we have to ensure is that we remain dynamic. That means people have to leave because we have finite size, and people have to come in, bringing in new ideas and new inspiration for research.
ARCNL has been so successful in the last 10 years in everything that they have done and what they have achieved in terms of scientific results, and also, as far as I can say, in terms of what they mean for their stakeholders, that I have high expectations for the next 10 years as well.
So I really hope that you make us think, that you come with new insights, new ideas where we say, that's interesting. Let's discuss further.
But I also feel that this is a time where the appreciation for these collaborations with industries is so high that maybe we don't have to, that people leave, but that we could grow, start new directions within ARCNL. So I see when after my retirement and I come back 5 years later, I expect actually an institute which is 20-25% larger than we have now, and that we broke through this magic 100 people barrier.
And who knows? Maybe the most important question will be answered by 2034 as well.
Is it ARCNL or is it ARCNL? I'm also struggling with that. I think ARCNL is the more technical name, and ARCNL is probably used by people with a biblical background.
ARCNL. ARCNL.
ARCNL. I think ARCNL.
I think both are acceptable. I've gone with ARCNL, but it's caused a lot of confusion already.
It's ARCNL, no doubt.